do something outside the road?
Yes, Your Honor, we need a quick court hour on him, and then you have that vote.
Okay. Y'all retire to your room. I'll be calling you back out in just a few minutes. All right, everyone may be seated. Let's get the witness.
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Solemnly swear or affirm testimony given this cause will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the true self you got.
Yes, sir.
Have a seat. The rules in effect, so be sure to follow it, okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ms. Jewell? Oh, Mr. Berry?
Yeah, well, it's my witness, Your Honor, but I don't know what they have questions for.
How do y'all want to
I
handle
can start, Your Honor.
it? Okay.
Well, the issue is going to be, I think he's going to use introduce state's exhibits, what's been marked state's exhibits 116 through 178.
Okay.
So,
And this is on out of your motion to eliminate?
yes.
Okay.
Well, I also would like to take him on board our see did he actually take those photographs. If not, he took them. I was able to argue their admissibility, and then after that, I'd like the court to do a 403 due process evaluation to see whether they're more prejudicial or probative, whether they're cumulative, whether they tend to prove in fact testimony relevant.
It would state hand me state exhibits 160 through 176 and 178, and then Mr. Noble, while you're doing your questioning, I can look at the exhibits. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And just so we also are introducing state exhibit 143 and 152.
You need to see those.
No, Your Honor. I've looked at those already.
So do you anticipate that there would be any objections to 142 through 143, 143 through 152?
And the phone, that's 153, sorry.
Not for 143 through 149. I would ask about 150 through 152. Same question that you proposed.
Let me see 150 through 152.
I don't know if he needs to see the ones I'm asking about.
If he needs to, I can hand them to him.
Which ones did you need? 150 and 150?
150 through 153.
153 is the physical phone, Judge.
I'm sorry?
153 is the physical phone.
Oh, okay.
He-
Okay,
there.
that's fine. Okay, Mr. Goble.
Agent Rogers, I'm Steve Goble, one of the attorneys for Mr. Warner. Wanted to ask a couple of questions. I don't know if you're familiar. What's been pre-marked as State's Exhibit 150 is a photo of a phone from a wristband tapped at 12 to 22. Are you familiar with that photograph?
Yes, sir.
And were you the one who took that photograph?
I was not the one, but I was present.
Okay, so who took the photograph?
It was a photographer for our team, Lisa Redwine, I believe.
Who's the red line? So why would you be the officer testifying to this position?
As senior team leader, I'm the one who oversees the whole scene, so I would be present during all activities. To include being the person who is on the chain of custody.
And how many team members were present that day?
Say again?
How many team members were present on December 2nd for the arrest van search?
Approximately 9 people plus Weiss County Sheriff's technician, Amy.
Same question for Swift Remark State Exhibit 151, photo of the phone or airplane mode from the same date. Did you take that photograph?
No, sir, I did not take a
Who
photograph.
took that photograph?
It would have been Lisa Redwine, the photographer.
And
I believe,
for,
I mean,
152.
I believe without looking at the photo log,
Hang on, so you're questioning.
I have the same question for State Exhibit 152, who took the photograph, and it's just a different thing from the rest of it.
same thing, same person.
And did you oversee any of those photos being taken?
Yes, sir.
And what do you mean, did you direct them to be taken, or were you just there? What was that?
Correct, I was there.
Okay. And what happens to the, is this a digital camera? How do those actually get processed? How do they make it?
It's, yeah, our photographer shoots it on a SD card and then creates the disc.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she didn't give that SD card to you?
No, sir. This stuff is handed over to the Weiss County Sheriffs for their evidence.
Okay. She takes the photos, takes the SD card out, and gave it to Deputy Amy?
Yes, sir.
What about what's the Mark State Exhibit 153, the phone? Were you the one that seized that?
The purple phone, the Samsung phone, or the Motorola phone with the purple case? Is that what we're talking about?
I have the picture in front of me.
I don't have the picture in front of me anymore, sir.
Judge, could you hand him State Exhibit 150?
150, okay.
Yes, sir.
That's the phone we're talking about?
The one that was, yes.
Was
The
you
one
the
that
one
was
that
collected.
located that?
I was there, I mean, I saw it inside the FedEx truck, yes, sir.
Okay, and you weren't the one that seized it?
I wasn't the one who collected it, but I was there when we gave it to the evidence over to Weiss County.
Okay, so who collected it?
It was Ashley Groover and Melissa Porter that collected it.
And they gave it to Deputy Amy?
So they collected, they put it in an evidence collected log, logging it into it. At the end of it, it is either myself or the team leader that gives over the evidence to the Weiss County.
So who is the team leader?
The team leader for that site was Tim Smiley, and I was a senior team leader.
What's been Mark State Exhibit 160 through 176 and 178? Were you the person who took those photographs?
I am not the person who took the photographs. It is our photographer who did.
Which photographer was that?
It would have been Thomas Ainsworth, assisted by Lisa Redwine.
What was your role on that scene?
I was a senior team leader. I oversaw the planning and coordination of that recovery.
How many people were on your team at that time?
Our full team showed up, but only 7 people took part in the actual recovery.
And when those photographs were taken, did that SD card have been given to Deputy Amy?
All of the items would have been given to Detective, Amy. I'm sorry.
State Exhibit 177 is a diagram. The diagram is that
What number, 177?
177.
believe that we're actually entering that in there.
I was gonna say, I didn't see a 177.
That's fine.
Okay.
I got 176 and 170.
Okay, so you are supervising, you said 7 other people participating in testing?
I was one of the 7, and I was assisting with the scene. I was actually involved in the scene.
And how many total were present?
6 plus me, which would make it 7. We're at the recovery. There's more of our team in the vicinity, but those ones that took place in the recovery was total 7.
That's pretty confusing. What does that mean on in the vicinity?
So we came from processing the other FedEx truck and then our whole team goes out there, and then it was my choice of who was selected to go down to recover the body.
Okay, were you directing the photographer which photograph to take?
I don't direct her specifically, but she knows that she has a certain role, and that is to take the entry photos, evidence photos, and exit photos.
And were you directing any of the people involved in evidence collection?
We had a plan before we went down to do the recovery, yes, sir.
So what does that mean you had a plan? You identified what they're collecting?
So how we were going to approach down, who was going to be in the water, who was going to be on the shore, how the photographs, where would we be taking the photographs at, how the body was going to be manipulated to take those photographs, and then to package or put the body into a body bag and then have it brought up to where it was released. So all of those was in plan.
Any questions, Ms. Dooley?
Just one. After the body recovery, were you physically in the water with the Athena Strand?
Yes, I was.
So you were there at the scene the entire time?
Correct.
Objections?
As to each item, our objection will continue that he did not establish the chain of custody by himself. He was not directing the photographs to be taken. He was not identifying which items were to be seized. He was the supervisor, which is a role. And then they turned the FDH part over to someone else. So I don't think any of them are admissible for those purposes. As to items 160 through 178, excluding 177, we continue our objection under 403 and due process that they're cumulative, they are not relevant at this point. According to their consideration, that they do show a body that is unclothed, which the photos may be considered gruesome, and particularly the photo of the body bag. I don't think it adds anything to the punishment phase of this trial.
Those objections are overruled, and if offered in the presence of the jury, the court will allow these exhibits to be admitted. You have a running objection, Mr. Goble?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Both sides ready for the jury?
Ready, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Let's go. All right, everyone may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, this witness has been previously sworn to testify truthfully. Ms. Dewell?
Thank you, Judge. Go ahead and state your name after the
My name is David D. Rogers II.
and who are you employed by?
I am employed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And how long have you worked for the FBI?
I've been with the FBI over 20 years.
In your 20 years, what all roles have you had at the FBI?
Initially, I was an investigator for domestic terrorism and international terrorism. Then I worked approximately 15 years as a weapons of mass destruction investigator, which is chem, bio, rad, nuke, explosive investigations. And then I took the role as a senior team leader for our evidence response team, our crime scene team, for approximately 4 years. And then I recently now a cyber agent for the criminal. And I have also been a part of our hazardous evidence response team since 2011. I've been a part of our evidence response team since 2018. And like I said, in 2021, I took the role as a senior team leader who's over the entire team of 32 individuals plus alternates.
You talk real fast.
Oh,
Slow down.
Apologize.
I've just got notes like that too. What type of training and education did you have to have these roles?
So in order to be on the crime scene team or even the hazardous evidence response team, you have to have 40 hours of training in each discipline. So it's 2 weeks of training. And then in addition to those trainings, you have others. So I've had post-blast, which is explosive recovery training. I've had large vehicle post-blast training. I've had human remains recovery training. That is approximately a week. I've also facilitated some of those trainings with our anthropologists that are in the Dallas area. I have also attended other trainings that dealt with body recovery stuff.
Were you asked to assist on the investigation in this case for Athena Strand?
Yes, I was.
And when were you first asked to assist?
I was, as senior team leader, I was asked by my supervisor to respond out to the abduction site and went there on that behalf with a small group of people to be in the area in order to make a determination how many people, where we needed people to go.
You mentioned that you were the senior team leader for this team. What is a senior team leader's role?
My role is to coordinate and plan all the operations on scene, to include and also training and making sure that people on our team are certified to go and handle crime scene teams, or crime scenes.
On December 2nd of 2022, did you participate in what I'm going to call the initial search of an arrest van?
Correct.
If I call the van, the arrest van, do you know which van I'm talking about?
Yes.
And do you recall what license plate that van had?
I believe it was GCP 0468.
I'm sure we're talking about the same van. On this initial search, what did you and your team do?
Because the vehicle was brought to us, we knew that there was items in there that was what the investigators wanted. We were able to take a picture, or we were able to look into the vehicle and see that there was a cell phone and a bag that was visible in the vehicle, and therefore we collected those 2 items.
The 2 items were collected were the backpack and a phone.
Yes, correct.
May I have your choice?
Yes.
I'll show you what's been marked as States Exhibit 143 through 152. And do you recognize these items?
Yes, I did.
And what are you looking at?
This is the FedEx vehicle that that the individual was arrested in and had personal belongings in.
And were you there when those photos were taken?
Yes, I was.
And do all of those photos fairly and accurately depict the scene and the items that were in place that day?
Yes, it does.
Your Honor, the state offers into evidence States Exhibit 143 through 152.
That's approved.
State's Exhibits 143 through 152 are admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Your Honor, may I publish?
Yes.
Publish State's Exhibit 143 on our screen. What am I looking at here?
You're looking at the FedEx vehicle that we processed, collected evidence.
Zoom in a little bit. Do you see that license plate number?
Yes, I do.
Can you give me that?
It's Golf Charlie Papa 0468, so GCP 0468.
Is that the license plate with the Wesleyan?
Yes, it was.
Publish State's Exhibit 148. What are we looking at here?
You're looking at the cab of the vehicle. In the picture, you can see the cell phone right in the middle console. We take the photos of the entry photos is how we see it when the door is open, so nothing is manipulated from our end when we get in there.
Are we showing all the photos here today, or were there more photos than what I showed you?
Of that day,
Yes.
I believe this is all the photos. Yeah.
And show you what's marked, or has been admitted as State's Exhibit 149. What are we looking at here?
The cell phone still in the console with appears something on the screen.
Are all these photos taken before anybody has touched the items?
Is before our team touches the items, correct?
I believe you said before that this item was collected by the FBI team.
Yes, that's correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Showing you what has been marked as States Exhibit 153. And do you recognize this item?
This appears to be the item with the supplement, yes.
So,
Yes, this appears to be the item with the supplement.
And how do you recognize it?
It has on here the description that was collected by the FBI from the FedEx vehicle,
And
and then released to Wise County, and then opened on March 14th, 2024, and then packaged in here.
And was your team who originally seized and collected that
Yes.
item?
Yes.
And what did you do with that item once it was collected?
Once we collected it, we provided a chain of custody to the Wise County's office.
And other than the addition of that package, has it been altered or tampered with in any way to your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge.
Your Honor, the state option to evidence States Exhibit 153.
No additional objections.
those previous objections are overruled and States 153 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge. And do you go by Special Agent?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Special Agent Rogers, as soon as you guys were in the middle of or concluding that initial search of the arrest van, what did you do next?
We got a call that said that we requested the assistance of our team by the Wise County Sheriff's Office and the Department of Public Safety Texas Rangers.
Is that still on that same date of December 2nd of 2022?
Yes, it was the night of on December 2nd.
Where were you asked to go?
We were asked to go to a county road, 922 County Road. That was about 15, 20 minutes from that location, I believe.
Do you recall about what time of day or night it was?
We finished up around 7:30 from the Wise County office, and then departed to the where the recovery was to occur.
Was it already dark out?
Yes, it was.
When you arrived on that scene, what did you see?
Coming down the road with a team in our supply vehicle, it was lined with first responders. As we approached, we were able to set up our vehicle on the bridge area, and then was able to and then deploy some. There were some lights out there, but we had some other lights that we utilized to brighten the area.
And you mentioned your team. Who all from your team was with you at that point?
Collectively, it was all the people that were from the Wise County Sheriff's Office that came out there, and then we got on the bridge, and then we had to assemble a smaller team of 7 individuals.
And a smaller team of 7 individuals to do what?
Obviously, it's a hard decision to make. We wanted to choose, with the assistance of the team leader and our senior members, we kind of compiled some names that we thought could handle the scene. Obviously, this is going to be a traumatic scene, so we wanted to make sure that we had people that could handle it. It's very easy to just select people, but we know what's going to happen in the aftermath of it. So, this team is made up of people who go above and beyond, that put the mission first ahead of their own personal cost, and it is their opportunity, our opportunity, to give those who have been silenced by tragedy a voice, and that voice is justice. And so we all
Sustained.
We all go.
That's enough.
Okay.
No, that's enough. Next question.
Thank you, Judge. As a senior team leader, is it your job, if you will, to pick who those 7 individuals were going to be?
Yes, it is.
Were you one of those 7 individuals?
That was one of those 7 individuals. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Was one of the 7 individuals somebody to take photos?
Yes.
And can you walk us through that process, that once you arrived on scene, what did you do first?
So once we are received, and we're organizing the team of who's going to do what. We have an individual who's a photographer. We have an individual who's a photo logger. We have then individuals that are going to go into the water to do recovery, into individuals that are going to assist with that, as well as processing the body once it's out.
Okay. And were you present during this entire time?
It was.
And driving on approach?
Yes.
I am showing here what has been marked as States Exhibit 160 through 176 and 178. And do you recognize all of these photographs?
I do.
And you were present on scene during all of these?
Yes, it was.
And does this fairly and accurately depict the scene and the body recovery as you personally saw it that night?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state option to evidence States Exhibit 160 through 176 and 178.
Any objections other than those previously given to the court? Yes.
No additional.
No additional objections, Mr.
No
Chairman?
additional.
Your objections previously given are overruled and states exhibits 160 through 176 and 178 are admitted.
Thank you, Judge. Can you publish States Exhibit 160? And can you describe what we're looking at here?
So you're looking at that bridge, and then you're looking down off of it to the water, and that's concrete block right there. And then on the other side of that block is where the remains were recovered.
Can you zoom back out a little bit? Sure. What are we seeing kind of more in the distance where those vehicles are parked?
Okay, so you're seeing what I talked about coming up that path where the first responders, then off, there's a post there, it's hard to see, but off to the right is a kind of a barrier where cars can park there. It's kind of a graveled area. There is a little pass on the other side of that little barrier there where we would walk, where we end up walking down to the site.
When you say there's like a little path, can you describe the path?
Just a beaten path where people have walked before.
I'm going to show you what's marked as States Exhibit 169. What are we looking at here?
You're looking at a different angle, but closer to the right side of where that concrete block was. And it's looking down towards the water. Where that concrete is, you can go down the left side of it or the right side of it.
When you say go down, is it a smooth path? Is it rocky? Can you describe that?
It was very slick. It was kind of cobbled, a lot of dirt and rocks that were.
And that concrete block, how high is that?
Roughly maybe 4 to 5 feet or so. Can't really remember how tall it was.
Were you one of the individuals that physically got into the water?
Yes, it was.
And can you describe to us your process for getting into the water and to like getting down those paths with your team, and who was there?
Okay. So prior to going down, I gave team assignments for what people were going to do. We were going to wear Tyvek suits and then gloves as personal protective equipment to go into the water. Myself and Tim Smiley went into the water to recover Athena, and then we had 2 individuals that were on the shore. There was a rope because of how the edge of the water was. It was very rocky. It was very unstable, kind of being able to get your footing. It was obviously you're in the water, can't see anything because it's I think the depth of visibility was only a few inches down, maybe that you could see stuff, maybe 5 or 6 inches. So we had someone that was on the shore with a rope, also in personal protective equipment to help us, because we knew that they were going to assist us as we were making our way out of the water, and then to kind of carry her out of the water and then put her on a flattened area that had another body bag laid down so we could so she wasn't going to be resting on the dirt.
What's been admitted as 172? What are we looking at here?
Kind of towards the middle of the screen, and then a little bit more in the middle, very middle, you can see was a hand that was barely visible out of under the water. And then you could obviously, from our perspective, because we were in the water, you could only see the hand barely visible. You couldn't see the very outline, but obviously photographs give you that advantage. But we could see just her hand that was kind of under the water.
And is this how you and your team found Athena before you entered the water?
Correct.
So once she's in the water right here, what did your team then do to recover?
So Tim and I, Agent Tim Smiley and I went into the water. I was going to go, I took one side of her body, he took the other side. We grabbed her arm and her leg, and we both were trying to work our way out of the water to where we got to the other 2 individuals that were standing there to assist us as we came out of the water.
Counsel, yes.
At this point, I think you were stating that you and another individual were in the water and y'all were, I think, were you handing her off, or what did you do next to get her on the land?
So we, all 4 people were assisting her body over to the ledge that we were going to place her on so we could take the photographs and then collect the forensic, or maintain the forensic, preserve the forensic evidence that could have been available or on the body. So, like I said, there was a rope that helped guide us because it was rocky, the footing was unsure, and we were able to kind of move her up into a flattened area where our photographers were.
I'm going to show you 173. And what are we looking at here?
This is the as we came out, I would say it was probably about mid-chest level where that landing was, and that's where we put Athena's body onto the body bag.
How deep was the water?
It was roughly, it was up to about kind of our waist. I remember right around our waist, and it was about 5 feet from the edge into the water.
Placed her on this, and this was a body bag, you said?
Correct. It was.
And what did y'all do at this point?
At this point, as we later up there, our photographers started taking the photographs of the body. As they took the photographs, then we put bags and taped them around her hands. And then after those were photographed, we then rotated her body over to the back side where more photographs were taken, and then eventually rotated back to where she was face up.
Not going to publish on the screen, but I'd like you to look
the images of Athena laying on a body bag. She is upright, her face up. The time, you want me to go into what I recall on that moment? As we lifted her out of water and placed her on this bag, I remember her being really cold to the touch, firm, and then with the lights and everything that was on the bridge hitting down, her skin appeared to be glistening, almost kind of angel-like, is what I recall.
Or
And then I recall bubbles escaping right where her mouth is. She was blowing bubbles, and as that moment where you kind of see it, then also the reality of it sits in of the trauma that was very apparent on her body.
May I finish witness?
yes.
May I publish this as one on the Twitter?
Yes.
Special Agent Rogers. At this point, what did you guys do to finalize getting Athena into the body bag?
So once all the pictures were taken and her hands were bagged, we then placed her in a body bag, which prior to that was, there was a determination that the body was deceased by the Justice of the Peace, and then we zipped up and then put our identification tags on it, and then brought it up to the funeral home that was going to take the body and then have it go to the medical examiner's office.
Who brought her body up to the funeral?
It was our team that brought her up.
I'll pass those.
Cross-examination.
Briefly, Agent Rogers, you were not the person who took those photographs,
Not those, no sir.
and all the photographs and any evidence were turned over to Deputy Gamey.
Yes, the Wise County, yes.
That's what it's from.
Redirect.
Nothing further on.
May this witness be excused subject to any potential recall?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Judge.
Thank you. Let us take our morning break, okay? I'll call you back in just a few minutes.